الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. يا ربي لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك، واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له، واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى اله واصحابه اجمعين. الله اكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا. لا إله إلا الله وحده صدق وعده ونصر عبده وأعز جنده وهزم الأحزاب وحده. My dear respected brothers and sisters, quick reflection on one ayah mentioned in the context of fasting the month of Ramadan, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ وَلِتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and wants for you to complete the period, 29 or 30 days, and to glorify Allah for that to which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. Or fasting or depriving ourselves from things we like, and here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects us to be in this day, when we finish or complete the period, to be thankful and grateful for prescribing fasting for us. It is as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to think more about the benefits and objectives of fasting, and when we do, then we will be more appreciative of such obligation of fasting, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made one of the 5 pillars of Islam. One of these objectives is to understand the human will and to strengthen our willpower. Willpower is necessary, defined as the effort exerted to do something or to restrain impulses. You cannot quit smoking unless you have a willpower. You cannot achieve something that requires so much effort unless you have real willpower. You cannot stop or resist impulses to do the wrong thing unless you have this willpower to say no to yourself. But this human will is a very complex subject, studied deeply by philosophers and various theologians and religious traditions. I'll just touch upon how the human will is looked at or considered from different perspectives by different philosophers. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who died in the 1860s, who considered himself to be the truthful heir of Kant's philosophy, lived at the same time of Hegel, but he hated him and he always criticized him. Different story. In his central work, The Word as Will and Representation, he talked about the human will or desire or striving, wanting, effort, and so on. And according to him, that will is part of the human essence. It is the jawhar of humans. And man suffers because of the inability to resist the will or the desire. And he says that, or argues that, man would always be in constant pain because he's between a will or the desire, or something he wants but he could not, or something he already achieved but he is tired of it. So either wants something and in pain because he does not have it yet, or when he gets it, he will get a very short period of happiness and then he will be tired of the thing that he wanted. So it's constant pain. And obviously death would be the end of this constant pain. We are created to suffer. He also argues that will or desire to do something have superiority or control over man's reasoning and his body as well. So he says that if you try to rationally convince someone very rationally of something and he's not convinced after 2 hours, then it's not because he does not understand, but because he does not want to understand. And that's absolutely true. Maybe every one of us have experienced something like this. Quran talked about the people of Mecca, of Quraysh, and when the Prophet ﷺ presented the clear evidence, and they don't believe because they don't want to believe, they don't want to understand. Right? So it's absolutely true. Our body gets older and weaker, but our will does not. In fact, it gets stronger. We always need something. We always want something. We want to achieve something that we don't have. That is also very close from the Buddhist approach to the concept of desire. The desire, the cause is sadness. And they developed this way that's known as the Noble Eightfold Path to discipline or to repress desires. The right view, the right intention, the right speech, not lying or not rude speech, and so on, and right conduct or action, right livelihood, to possess only what is essential for our life, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and the right meditation. Islam, on the other hand, does not want to repress our desires, because desires are given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if desire can condescend its selfishness, then it should be respected. It should not be despised and degraded. So the challenge is not to kill our desire or our will, but rather to align our will with the parameters of Sharia. That is the challenge that every one of us should find ways to overcome. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this beautiful hadith, none of you truly believes until his desires are compliant to that which I have brought. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به. Our iman will not be complete. Other actually interpret this literally, but says no iman, the person is not a believer at all. But I believe the right translation is that your iman is not complete unless our desires is compliant to that which he sallallahu alaihi wasallam has brought, talking about the divine guidance in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we ask ourselves that is our iman shallow or deep? Is my iman strong and real or just fake iman? Well, here is the standard. What do you like and what you don't like? If you really enjoy and like to pray on time, if you enjoy visiting Mecca and Medina, if you enjoy reading the Quran, if you enjoy being in the masjid, praying Taraweeh and helping in good causes, serving peace and justice, sharing with others, that's a sign of the strength of your iman. And vice versa, if we like things that the Prophet ﷺ or Islam did not approve, then this is a sign of the weakness of our iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, but Allah has endeared to you the faith and has made it pleasing in your hearts. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ حَبَّبَ إِلَيْكُمُ الْإِيمَانَ وَزَيَّنَهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ, and has made hateful to you disbelief, deviance, and disobedience. It is Allah who bestowed His mercy upon the believers by making them love al-Iman, make it beautiful in their hearts. They see everything that Iman or Quran brings as beautiful, and everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited as ugly and bad. They stay away from it. What we love and what we hate reflects what we do. So in other words, we have to align our will and desire to be within the parameters of Sharia. And there are also levels, as our ulama talked about, the levels of desire. We go from this desiring and wanting or loving what is beautiful to love beauty itself. And this can lead us to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the source of all beauty, the most beautiful thing, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. To go beyond our humanity to love what is universal, and then to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the divine. إِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ وَإِلَى رَبِّكَ فَارْغَبْ. If we really love beauty, then we have to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most beautiful. إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَمِيلٌ يحب الجمال سبحانه وتعالى. Our will is so weak comparing to the absolute will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why, according to Islamic tradition, we always should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen our will, to guide our will. That's why we always pray, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, because we know that we are so weak. We need to align our will to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that we gain His help and His support. That's why after each prayer we say this beautiful dua, Allahumma inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Because if it was not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we wouldn't have been guided. This is what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum used to chant when they built the Prophet's masjid. They used to entertain themselves and they say, Tallahi lawla Allah mahtadayna. By Allah, if it was not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we wouldn't have been guided. So it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who guides and help and aid. But we need to acknowledge our weakness and always seek His help to help us control our will, so that our will works for us, not against us. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. The question here in Islam is not to desire or not to desire. The question is what to desire, what to want. That is the question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Our will can be used for good and evil. Even our body, our stomach can eat haram things or can fast. Our money could also be used for sadaqah and helping others and so on. Could also be used for doing haram things. Sexual desire, the same thing, could be used the right way, enjoyed the right way, or also could be enjoyed in the wrong way. So we have certainly created man in the best of stature, then we return him to the lowest of the low. People always follow the desire. Most of the problems, disasters, man-made disasters in the world is because of human desire, the inability for them to control their desire, their greed. They want to be powerful, to control others, to steal from others, destroy others. So all religions, in fact, thought about this, and that may explain why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed fasting for all those who came before us. We are not the only nation that have been tested with this obligation, fasting. The objective is to understand that we have a will. Apart from the discussion about free will, but we have a will, and based on this will comes responsibility, the free will we have. And that's why Allah will hold us accountable, because He gave us the freedom to choose. How to choose? Then you have to have this willpower to choose based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, based on the divine guidance. Practice of yoga, for example, that called transcendental meditation, complete relaxation and focus can absolutely help healing mental illnesses. And that's true, it works for some. And this is what we do in our prayer, especially in the month of Ramadan. When we come here and stand in long prayer, right, we focus on one thing. And we tend to forget about all physical events in our life. That is a wonderful formula to avoid an anxiety and depression. The month of Ramadan, brothers and sisters, comes to tell us that you need to talk to Allah. You need to seek help from Him. You need to recognize your weakness. But you need also to understand your strength. And our strength comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we always pray for Him. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. We seek your help. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, because Ya Allah, we cannot stay fast on the Sirat al-Mustaqim if you don't help us. Because temptations, attractions, evil is around us. Our own selves, the shayateen of humans and jinn, all corruption around us makes it difficult for us to stay on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. So we need to have this willpower to say no to temptations, to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do, even if it's against our own will. And this actually brings us to the very definition of Islam. The word Islam is قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ. Islam is to submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to forget about your will, and to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Quran talked about the fact that people tend to do the opposite of what they are ordered to do. Quran says, وَلَوْ أَنَّا كَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَنِ اقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. If we ask them to commit the crime that they are doing, they wouldn't have done it, because they are asked to do it. One of the Sahaba said, Wallahi, if we were asked, we would have done it. If Allah told us to do anything, we would have done it. And when Rasulullah heard this, he said, the iman in the heart of some people is like the strong, lofty mountains. Nothing can shake it. They are ready to do whatever Allah wants to do. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. Brothers and sisters, Ramadan came and left us. Ramadan is over. Our iman, our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to worship Him in Ramadan, to fix ourselves, to improve ourselves, to purify ourselves, to liberate ourselves from the shackles of the pleasures of this worldly life. And I hope and pray that we, as we came out of Ramadan now, come out of the Ramadan with this idea of being stronger, to liberate ourselves, not just to go with the crowd, to say no when we see evil being practiced, shameful immorality being practiced. Even if you are alone, be strong and seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to help those who are seeking His help. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم استغفر الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Brothers and sisters, before I go, I just want to say that I love you all for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our community is a wonderful community, and I believe we can do better by getting involved. We need to get involved with plenty of committees. A lot of work needs to be done. For those of you who really want to volunteer, please come forward and tell us what you can do. And every one of us can do something. We need your involvement. We have a lot of work to do. Yes, we are working in a new building, and I hope and pray it will be built as soon as possible, inshallah. But equally important, if not more important, what kind of activities we have in this community. We can do more. Alhamdulillah, we're doing well, but I believe we can do more. This can only happen by your participation. And participation in anything you can do, whatever you can provide, whatever you can contribute to this community. We need manpower, we need experience, we need people with knowledge, we need people with experience that they can share with others, especially with our youth. A lot of things, a lot of challenges our youth are going through, and we really need to work harder to provide better programs for them. So I hope and pray, inshallah, in the coming months and years, we will have more activities in this masjid. And please forgive me for any shortcomings, and keep us in your prayer. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك رزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا. اللهم اجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث، فأصلح لنا شأننا كله. اللهم لا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين ولا إلى أحد من الناس يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم استر عوراتنا وآمن روعاتنا، واحفظنا من بين أيدينا ومن خلفنا وعن أيماننا وعن شمائلنا ومن فوقنا، ونعوذ بعظمتك أن نقتال من تحتنا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. Eid Mubarak to all of you.